Are you able to lose a debate about God? Ignorance isn't bliss. Comfort is. Truth that defies expectation is often seen as an intrusion, and that's the ugly side of learning. To learn anything new, we all had to accept that what we once believed wasn't true. Few subjects let us escape the discomfort of reality, dismantling the world we once imagined. For many, the introduction to God, or the idea of a creator, provided a safe haven for our inner children. No matter how certain we are about parts of creation, there will always be enough gaps for anything to seem possible. Whether you're religious, atheist, or somewhere in between, your belief about God likely rests on the assumption that proof is impossible either way. So when I come along with logic and math as evidence of irrefutable truths that make those gaps irrelevant, it can feel like a personal attack. Because it threatens the sanctuary that protects our inner child, I become the villain in your story. I can't avoid being an intruder, but I should be seen as a pleasant surprise, not a threat. What's interesting is, I don't offer any new information to make my point. I use a mathematical concept that has existed for centuries as the basis of my entire philosophy. The analogy, God is to reality what zero is to math, highlights how zero's role as the reference point for defining all numbers and proving all equations mirrors God's role in reality. By stripping away the imagined and personified traits we typically associate with God, it offers a version that's harder to reject, even if more difficult to conceptualize. The same logic we use to learn everything else should apply to what we believe about God. Math is our most objective language for describing reality. Zero is the foundation of math, so zero shouldn't be excluded from math's application to reality. The reality that corresponds to zero as the foundational reference point would be what we call the creator, the universal origin, or the infinite singularity. The only objection is the lack of tangible proof, but it's unreasonable to deny the necessary simply because we can't produce evidence of what cannot be measured. Zero is, by definition, none of what can be witnessed or perceived. We define it by what it isn't, but we should describe it by what it does. Some will try to point to zero as having no value in an attempt to dismiss and demean. I will point to zero being invaluable as a reason to exalt and praise. Trying to imagine the reality, zero must represent defeats the purpose of the analogy. The whole point is this: what we can witness and measure points to an origin we cannot imagine. True faith isn't rejecting logic and reason in order to accept things that don't make sense. It should be accepting what makes sense even though you cannot imagine or visualize it. Intellectual righteousness is an invitation to leave the supernatural behind and pursue logic in our search for God. Explore what zero means to math, and you'll discover what we have reason to believe about God. The only debate left is whether you're ready to accept what you already know.